All right, let's just jump right into this. If we really want to understand ourselves, like why we do the things we do, what we crave, what makes us anxious, we have to look back. I mean, way back. We're about to explore how our brains, which were basically hardwired for a hunter-gatherer world, are trying to make sense of this crazy modern environment we've built for ourselves.
I mean, come on, we've all been there, right? You're staring at a tub of ice cream. You know you shouldn't, but you just can't stop. Well, what if I told you that's not some failure of willpower? It's actually a feature, not a bug, left over from a completely different time. This one simple question really gets to the core of the conflict between our ancient programming and our modern lives.
So the big idea we're digging into here is called evolutionary psychology. And the concept is actually pretty simple when you break it down. Think of our minds as running on ancient software, perfectly coded for surviving on the African savanna. The problem, our world has changed like unbelievably fast. We've created this modern, industrialized society that is just packed with temptations our ancestors couldn't even dream of. And that creates this huge mismatch between our programming and our environment. Okay, let's use that ice cream example. Some call this the gorging gene theory. So picture this. You're a hunter-gatherer, and you stumble upon a tree just loaded with ripe, sweet figs. That's like winning the lottery. High-calorie food was super rare. So what does your brain tell you to do? Eat. Eat as much as you can right now before some other animal comes along and takes it. That instinct, that urge, got hardwired into our DNA. Fast forward to today, and our genes still see a fridge packed with food as that rare fig tree. It's screaming at us to binge. And, the modern food industry is very, very aware of this little biological quirk.
So if these ancient instincts are still pulling our strings, what were their lives actually like? The popular image is, this miserable, brutish life, always on the edge of starvation. But the actual evidence? Well, it paints a very, very different picture. It's time to debunk that classic caveman myth. Let's start with something we can all relate to, the work week. Now this really puts things in perspective. We like to think of ourselves as so advanced, but get this. Even in a tough environment, like the Kalahari Desert, hunter-gatherers typically worked just 35 to 45 hours a week to get everything they needed. As you can see, for a lot of us, that's less than a modern office job. And I'm pretty sure their work didn't involve the stress of mortgages or a never-ending email inbox. And the advantages didn't stop with shorter hours. I mean, look at this. Their diet was incredibly diverse, dozens and dozens of different plants and animals. That protected them from the vitamin deficiencies that hit early farmers who were stuck relying on just one or two crops. The fossil record even suggests they were taller and healthier. And because they lived in small, mobile groups, they avoided the massive plagues that tore through densely populated cities later on. It's no wonder some experts have called them the original affluent society. So this is really the key takeaway here. They weren't just surviving. Far from being simple or ignorant, on an individual level, ancient hunter-gatherers were probably the most knowledgeable and skilled people in all of history. Think about it. To stay alive, every single person had to be a walking encyclopedia of their environment. They had to know plants, animal tracks, weather patterns, and how to make every single tool from scratch. But, okay, let's not get carried away and romanticize the past. It wasn't some perfect, peaceful utopia. When we start digging into their social lives, how they loved, fought, and raised families, we don't find easy answers. Instead, we find these huge, fascinating debates that really challenge our own ideas about what's natural. Okay, first up, family. How is it structured? Well, scholars are completely split on this. On one side, you have the ancient commune theory. This idea suggests they lived without private property or strict monogamous marriage, and that children were basically raised by the whole group. In this version, the idea of one man being the father might not have even really existed. But then, on the other hand, you have the eternal monogamy theory, which argues that the nuclear family, mom, dad, kids, has always been the core building block of human society. The honest truth? We just don't know for sure. The evidence is too thin.
And this whole shared parenting idea isn't just some abstract theory. Check out this quote from the Bari people in Venezuela. They believed that a child was literally made from the accumulated sperm of several men. So for a Bari woman, having multiple partners wasn't seen as promiscuous. It was actually considered great parenting. It was a way to give your child the best qualities from the community's best hunter, its best storyteller, and its wisest leader. And just like with family, there's another huge debate raging. Was the ancient world a peaceful paradise, or was it just brutally violent? The archaeology here is all over the place, pulling us in two totally different directions.
This table really shows the puzzle perfectly. Look, in both Portugal and Israel, archaeologists looked at about 400 ancient skeletons and found almost no signs of violence. But then you go to the Danube Valley. They looked at 400 skeletons there and found that 4.5% of them died from violence. Now, to put that into perspective, that's as high as the death rate from violence during the entire 20th century, with all of its wars. So it seems like some places were incredibly peaceful and others were shockingly violent.
Every now and then, archaeologists find something that just completely shatters that whole simple caveman stereotype. At a site in Sungir, Russia, that's about 30,000 years old, they found the graves of two children, and they were buried with this many meticulously crafted ivory beads, over 10,000.
And that just leads to this mind-boggling question. Someone actually calculated it. Crafting that many beads would have taken more than 7,500 hours of skilled work. That's like one person working full-time for over 3.5 years. So why? Why would a society that was supposedly just trying to survive invest so much effort in bearing two children? Honestly, we can only guess. Maybe they were the children of a powerful chief, a kind of royalty. Or maybe they were seen as the reincarnations of important ancestors. Or there's a darker possibility. Maybe this was all part of some elaborate sacrificial ritual. These are all just theories. The true meaning is lost to time. But it's undeniable proof that their social and political worlds were way more complex than we give them credit for. And that incredible mystery of the Sungir children really brings us to the biggest realization of all. When we try to understand the inner lives of our ancestors, what they believed, the stories they told, their politics, we hit a wall. A big one. The sources use this really powerful metaphor, a curtain of silence. It's drawn across tens of thousands of years of our own history. They didn't have writing, so their most important creations, their myths, their laws, their religions, their spiritual beliefs, all of that is almost entirely lost to us. All we have left are scattered bones and stone tools. So what does all this mean? We're always searching for the natural way to live. But as this quote points out, there has never been just one. Ever since our species developed complex thought and culture, we've been defined by choice. The evidence we have points to this breathtaking diversity of lifestyles and beliefs and social structures. There is no single, authentic instruction manual for being human. And that really leaves us with a final, massive question to think about. If our own ancient past was this huge palette of different cultural choices, not one single natural path, then what does that mean for our search for the natural way to live today? Maybe the point isn't to find one right answer from our past. Maybe it's about recognizing that we still have the freedom to choose from that same bewildering and kind of wonderful palette of possibilities.